Hey everybody, this is Dimitri. In this video, we're going to talk about a 3dconnexion product. Let me pull it out. And it's a new... No, tricked you. It's a new... Well, it's not that either, but that's part of it. This is the Numberpad Pro, part of the 3dconnexion Keyboard Pro. That's what we're talking about today. The 3dconnexion guys were kind enough to send one to me in the autumn, and I've been using it for a couple of months. And I have to say, I'm pretty happy you're using it. So, to tell you why, I have to tell you a little story. So I'm the guy, the weird guy in the office that always brings his own keyboards. I'm crazy about ergonomics, and I realized a long time ago that having a full-size keyboard does not provide an ergonomic position. The mouse hand is always way out on one side as opposed to being centered around on the computer screen. So that's why I've been always using these compact keyboards. In fact, for one of my 3dconnexion video where I had this keyboard on, some of the comments were less than nice about the professionalism that I'm trying to portray on there. Fair enough for you, but this works for me quite well. So ergonomics. This is one of the key drivers for 3dconnexion of creating this keyboard. They've worked on it for quite a while, and believe it or not, 3dconnexion is a pretty small company in regards to the kinds of quality of products that they're outputting. They used to be a part of Logitech, but then they spun off as a separate company. They found an investor that really believed in them and kind of skyrocketed, I think, from there really, with all their fantastic products. And why are they so good? Because they cater specifically to professional CAD, designer, 3D users and creators. The Keyboard Pro with the Numberpad Pro is no different. So the Keyboard Pro is composed of a keyboard with the arrow buttons, the lead, scroll, all those typical kinds of buttons. So it's a little bit bigger than one of these. But it has the separate number pad. So that number pad could either stay traditionally on the right hand side, where you would then have a full-size typical keyboard, or you can put it on the left hand side. So it's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit compact, your mouse is in the right position. It does take a little bit to get used to it, but boy, it's nice to have a number pad actually. I didn't realize how much I miss it, but you know, if you're doing some quick calculations or even typing in dimensions in one of the programs or numbers, it's much better experience typing them in a number pad. So what's special about the keyboard? First off, it feels really nice. Besides the size, in regards to ergonomics, it has an ergonomic palm rest that's embedded into it. At first on the pictures I was like, I'm not sure about this. I wish it could be removable, but using it for a while, I do like it. It does take a little bit more space on the keyboard if you're a person that likes to move their mouse in different places. But beyond that, it's actually really nice because it is a little bit more ergonomic. Then it's got a set of 12 buttons on the keyboard and extra 4 customization buttons on the Numberpad Pro. So these are new buttons. These are not your F buttons. These are buttons on top of your F buttons. Literally a new row. And seriously, when I'm using that, I'm just thinking, why don't more keyboard manufacturers do that? Because it's awesome to have all these extra buttons. The keyboard and the number pad work with the same software that the Space Mice work with. So it is the same 3DXware app, and that app really allows you to do all kinds of cool things like macros, have radio menus. And for me, why I like using the 3dconnexion products is that they sort of unify with their level of customization or the different softwares that I do. Let's say I have a button that I click and it does the same thing in all the apps that I use. Now, how about the feel of the key? So it does feel pretty pro. When I press it, it's like one step higher than your typical computer board, but the finishes are much nicer. There's much less move, and honestly, definitely feels like an upgrade than this $20, pound, whatever keyboard. I've got probably the best competitor for this, the Logitech MX Keys Mini. Let me know in the comments if you think I should do a full-on review between these two keyboards. So the Key Mini doesn't have as much travel as the Keyboard Pro. It is a little bit more compact, but again, it doesn't offer the same level of customization that the Keyboard Pro does. And you have to use a separate number pad. Of course, you can use the Numberpad Pro or any other number pad. They sell them on Amazon with any other keyboard. But if you want the customization that goes pretty well with the rest of the 3dconnexion elements, especially if you're using the 3dconnexion ecosystem like the Space Mouse and maybe the CAD mouse, then you would feel right at home with the Keyboard Pro. Now, if you're not using those, but you do wish to have some extra customization capabilities beyond your typical keyboard, then I also highly recommend that. For example, in AutoCAD or Rhino, Blender, even SketchUp, even Revit. In all those softwares, we're typically using the same 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 commands. So you got 12 buttons, and instead of even typing a hotkey, you can say move or offset or rotate. And that same button can do the same thing for all your other apps. So the keyboard is wired and the Numberpad Pro is Bluetooth. The Keyboard Pro also has an embedded dongle, so it can be used as a dongle for all your other 3dconnexion devices. 3dconnexion, just like Logitech, even though Logitech is a little bit screwing that up right now with both, but 3dconnexion have one receiver, and that same receiver can be hooked up with multiple wireless products from 3dconnexion. So you could have your Space Mouse Pro, Space Mouse Wireless, CAD Mouse Wireless. They can all work off of the same receiver. And now that receiver could be the keyboard. If you're working on a laptop, it's kind of nice because it's almost like a dock for your 3dconnexion products. You just plug in the Keyboard Pro, and then your whole maybe home desk or soon hopefully office desk setup starts to work automatically without being afraid that you're going to lose one of the dongles around. So the keyboard is pretty quiet. And the fact that there's little GIF in all the keys makes the keyboard fairly quiet for the size that it's competing in. And the keys, they're not too hard, they're not too soft, they feel just about right. So I praised this quite a bit, but there are some things that I wish could be improved. First off, it's wired. I'm not a big fan of wired keyboards because I'd like to move things around however they feel comfortable with my body. Having something that's wired kind of limits that a little bit. But I'm also using the CAD Mouse Pro as wired at the moment. So because it is wired, it's very much a desktop setup where you expect that to be your workplace. Unless you want to have a wired keyboard on your dining room table, which you probably don't, so it's not easy to sway away. What I'm trying to say is that it's not that easy to put it away. The other thing that I wish they cut a little bit is the size. There's quite a bit of extra width on either side of the keyboard and the number pad, which I don't know if it does anything functional, but if we could trim it down, that would make it even more ergonomic, especially if you have one of the larger Space Mice, like the Space Mouse Pro or the Space Mouse Enterprise, because then the whole setup can get a little bit more compact and hence a little bit more ergonomic because, you know, one hand is not here or here, everything is center. So this is again definitely meant for desktop users with a permanent office. Whether it's a home office or a work office away from your home, doesn't matter because it's meant to sit there. I don't want to unplug this every time I go there. So I do have a home office, so we're standing in it. Also my studio. So I don't move it from there. It stays there. But I do like to bring the lighting down at night, and the keys are not illuminated. Another thing is the layout. I've grown quite happy with this kind of layout where you have your arrow keys below. Maybe there could be an extra arrow keys on the side for and delete, scroll, page up and page down. That could again significantly trim the overall width of the product. And that would be nice. That would be really nice because it might be a little bit too big for some people. Then the palm rest. Again, it's really nice. But if you start to have other devices like the Space Mouse Enterprise next to it, I can't put the Space Mouse as close to the keyboard because of the palm rest. And then the number pad goes way out there. So if we shrink the dimensions, the overall width, compact the arrow keys and the delete and scroll up, scroll down, page up, page down, whatever those buttons are called, make it wireless, make it illuminated, that would be hands down the best keyboard out there on the market. And I'll gladly add it to my growing strong collection of keyboards. Which keyboard do you use? Are you happy with it? What would you like to see improved in the keyboards? Or is any good old keyboard the best? And how about mechanical keyboards? Do you guys use mechanical keyboards? I'm looking around them and I see more people using it, but I don't know about them just that much yet. So curious to hear your feedback and speak to you soon.